I want to welcome you to our 21st film in our series Partner of the Month. And we started with the first film was the Pahtakorva. And I decided it's such a important fly that we're going to do a version every 20 film. So it's time for another Pahtakorva. And I actually found this. Look what I found. An old VHS, an old film. And the photo on the front cover is me and Helena, my ex-wife. And actually Pahtakorva got its name after she caught her second 20+ pounder on the pool, in the pool, on the Alta, the Pahtakorva pool. So today I have a little surprise for you. You know, we did one film where we had my good old buddy Roland Holmberg on the Sillen. We had him on the telephone, called him up and asked him about this. And since the Pahtakorva has a lot of influences from another of my really good buddies, I can introduce to you my very old friend, Mr. Tempeldog. He's right here. Håkan, come on. Good to see you.
Yeah.
So,
right. Hi
now
everyone.
we have the most difficult judge there is, I think, when I'm gonna tie. Okay? So, I'm gonna start, I'm gonna do it my way, and we're gonna do it like this. I'm gonna tie a piece of this or a little bit of this fly the way I do it, and then Håkan's gonna do it his way. And I think that we could say that we do it very differently, but also I think that when we look at what we want to approach, the way they swim, it's kind of similar, right?
Yes. That's
So I'm gonna do it like this. I'm gonna start here, and today I'm gonna tie it on our copper bronze medium and an extra small fits. These go together, or can you tie in a different way? When I tie Pahtakorvas, I sometimes do it on the black and orange too. But today I'm going to do it like this, and we're going to start by deciding the size of the fly. And I will do quite a big fly, meaning I will go on like a 3 centimeter medium, and I can use like 5 centimeters or so of this. And I do the same here as always. I cut this as an angle, put it on, and put the extra small on. So I'm going to use our SSS thread, and I'm going to use the 12-0 black one that I tie most of my flies with. And I start by putting these two tubes together, and I know you do it differently, Håkan, but I prefer to do it this way, where I get it flexible. I don't need any glue. Just put it in like that, and then I move my thread back, and I use a mirage. I use the saltwater flash mirage, and I tie it in underneath. And I try not to back the thread under the mirage. I just take the mirage and I go back, turn it and double it. And you can pull fairly hard in this material. It stretches a bit and it will be pretty strong. Okay, so what do you use for tailing material today, Håkan?
I still use the fluorofiber.
Oh, you do that? Yeah. I've been using fluorofiber on most of my flies, but now I actually do this. Recognize it?
Yes. That's probably the best synthetic.
Yeah. Crafts fur, it's a good one. I take a piece and I just cut it, and I just tie it in on top. And what I do, I move my fingers back, take my thumbnail and I press it down so I get it to be over about half the diameter of the tube. Then I take the scissors and I go in. I don't cut it like this. I go in and I taper and cut from underneath like this. And if you do it careful like this, you can do 2 or 3 times to get the really good tapering on this tail. And I think that's okay. Then I'm going to use our body material. And this is quite funny actually, because I have one of the old flies here. It's the original Lawson. And I remember me catching one of my biggest trout, 11 kilos in pike pool on this. And you came around the corner and said, "What the are you doing?" And helped me land this fantastic fish.
You had an insane day.
Yeah,
That day was just
it was great.
insane.
I think that 4 fish I had that day is still the heaviest 4 fish caught on the I had a 17.7 kilo salmon, a 12 kilo salmon, and one 9.7 and one 11 kilo sea trout. But the 11 kilo was on this, and this is one of the first flies I fished with a body that was half gold and half black. And well, nowadays it's a classic pattern, I think. But I'm going to do it today with our braid, of course, and I'm going to use 2. I'm going to use our Alta Gold one, and I'm going to use the one we call Pahtakorva Bronze. And here actually I can do it either way. Either I can use, come on, where are you? There we go. Either I can use the Pahtakorva as a body, and I can use the gold as a rib, but if on the original one there was a gold body, so I'll use the Pahtakorva as a ribbing, meaning I tie that in first and I use the gold, Alta Gold one as a body like this. Then I tie this and wind this and make sure I cover up the thread, and I pull it and overlap it like this, and I make sure I go a little bit further than half the body before I secure it, and I cut it off. So this is the beginning. Should you do it now? If you do the fly to this part, then I'll keep on going, and we'll see where we end up and where
we do it differently.
Where we do it different. Okay, good.
All right, folks. I'm going to make like an original Tempeldog. I tied this fly in '85, the first time, and it's been around ever since. And you know, the color combinations of the original Tempeldog or the Pahtakorva, there you have the brown, you have the gold, you have the orange, you have the black, you have the flashes, and that's what you need for a colored water, humus colored water. And those color combinations have been working really well for probably all over the world. Originally it was made for fishing like the fishing the Murray. I'm going to tie, this is going to be old school and new school. I have prepared a tube. This is a medium connected with a small tubing, and I also have like a half turbo, and then I'm going to finish off with a is it Exmore?
That's a micro turbo.
Okay, the micro turbo. And here's another one that I use a lot. This is a 5mm tungsten tube, and also I can finish off with a micro turbo. And the reason why I want to use the half turbo
Can I say something there? Because it's interesting. Because we have a few people that say, oh, fits doesn't fit. The cones don't fit on the plastic. I use the extra small. You use the small one, but you stretch it, right? You have to explain
Yeah,
it.
well, I burn it. This is my needle that I use. So I put some extra turns of tying thread. I heat the needle. And then I press the tubing on backwards like this over the I can show you. If I take
We understand.
because it told me don't touch the wires.
Because it gets out of focus.
So what I do, I heat the needle like this. I put on the small medium tubing and press it over the tying thread. Then I take it away. And now the small tubing will fit like this. And the reason why I want to use the small tubing is because it's more stable. And it more, I get another kind of stiffness in the tube. Try this. This is good.
Yeah, I would say if you compare our fits tubing to other tubing, this is more flexible. So you can do a lot of things with
I mean, we have been using this kind of tube for what, 35 years or even more?
No, I used it in the 70s. You got it from me when we started, when we first met.
It's absolutely the best.
Yeah.
All right, using the 12-0 thread. Then I do it a little bit old school. I take some 15 ribbing. Just to make the fly stronger in the back. Then I'm still using the floor fiber. I liked it, but the craft fur is really nice as well. But I use the floor fiber. I tie this part, I tie it in front of me like this. Then I turn it. To get a good spread of the floral fiber, I split this into two, like this. Take the other one, fold it back. This will work really well with the craft fur as well. Then I get a good spread, like this. Then I take some ribbing. This is 17.
Old school stuff.
And then I put the ribbing away from me, like this. And this, then I use, this is a wide, rich gold, dark gold tinsel. This is the original stuff.
No, this
is like, you have to show them that.
Yeah, I have to show you this. This is actually something I found a long time ago. I found one of these blankets the rescue blankets, and I have a piece still here. This is the original stuff,
Yes.
and we cut it up like this, and you had both silver and gold. Tying professionally, this was inexpensive, and it was not very durable, but got very nice colors to it.
This is the right color.
Yeah, it's the right color. You see, it's the same color.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but this is, I found this in the tying room, some of the old stuff that we used to use back in the days.
Then I still like to use like an underbody of with floss, just to make the gold body stronger. And then also I will cover up this.
Like the way it was done with the tinsel body on a classic flies back in the days. Right?
Then I take some sapagap on this.
Why didn't you lose your hair? That's poisonous. You have to be careful. I blame that for me losing my hair.
You used it more than me.
Oh, maybe I did.
A nice even body.
Okay, so front half, most of the time I've been using black, but later to get a little more colors to the fly, or it's still discreet, but I use the glitz that's called Pahtakorva bronze. It's a mix of 5 colors actually, and with the glitz it's long fibered and it's really easy to just spin it on, and I do just a little bit at a time like this, then I wind it on, and I back down first and then I go front and I keep on building. And I know when you put the dubbing on you do it differently, Håkan. But you don't use dubbing loops like I do, and don't do it either, right?
No, it depends. If I want, rich body, particularly with the glitz, then I spin it.
Okay. I never spin the dubbing actually. It's so long fibered, it's easy to spin it on like this. Then I push back and make sure that I have 3 or 4 millimeters here in front, because that's where I want my wing to be. Okay, and then one of the secrets with this fly, I think it's the body hackle, makes it look special, and it should be orange dyed badger, and if it's a silver badger it's better because it's a white feather from the start, and you can see even on this old fly there's a badger hackle. Okay, so I'll pull off a little bit here. I make sure I have a little bit of the soft fibers left, and I tie it in underneath again, and I guess we also do this differently, but when I wind on this I never just go back like this, because then I get too few fibers here. I always start by putting one turn before I go back, and on a big fly like this I do it by my fingers, and then I take the braid and I spin it, and I can spin it very hard if it's a smaller fly, and then I cross over every turn of my hackle, meaning that if the hackle breaks, pull it down in the ribbing, in the dubbing, sorry. If the hackle breaks, the braid is way stronger than the hackle, so it won't unwind. The fibers will still be there. and I cut off this little piece here, and I take this, and instead of cutting it, I fold it back and double it back, so it can't slip. You do the same?
Well,
you tie your part this way now, and we'll have a look.
Well, I use ordinary, oval rib,
Yeah.
and I just I learned it from you. I show you.
Okay. Because you're older than me, that's
Yes.
why.
Still
Okay.
old school.
Brush it. The meanest brush on the market. And the good thing here with this glitz is that the fibers are so long that I can really pull out these fibers to mix with my hackle like that.
I take some dubbing. They were already ready mix of this one, but I'm out of it. I take some black, some blue, some red, and originally we used a yarn that we used to call the disco yarn, and had all these ingredients.
This is like what we call rainbow from hell.
Yes.
It's the same. And you know, in the old days when we were on the phone every time, we found all these mixes, and a lot of our talks is behind our SSS mixes, color mixes. When do you use dubbing and when do you use glit?
I use the glitz if I want to spin a front tackle. If I mix it together, with ostrich or soft tackle, if you spin a hackle in front of it, it's really nice. And also if I want a really rich full body. All right. Then I put in silver badger, whitening silver badger, dyed hot orange.
You put it on top, I always under.
Couple of turns first, then I go back. Then I take 2 turns with the ribbing to secure the hackle, because that's one of the places where the fish usually eat the fly.
And people will say that you turned the cone upside down. Oh, man.
Yes, I did it on purpose.
I know it, but maybe you should explain.
Yes, I'm coming to that. Then, as I said, this is one of the things that I picked up from you a long time ago. Cut it up, cut it off, take away, so you get the core, and just fold it inwards, like that.
To secure it.
Yes. Now, the reason why I've turned the half turbo upside down is that I want the wing to rest upon it. And when I tie it like this, it also means that I get a lot of volume in the wing, and the wing will never collapse, even in fast water.
Time for the wing. And now I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do the first little flash here, and I'm gonna use the Angel Hair HD on a really big fly or a spring fly, I can also go with the flash that we have right here. But now I do the Angular HD, and I take a few fibers, pull them so I have them quite wide between my fingers, and I tie them in 1 or 2 turns, and I double back. And secure it. And if there are, now these are, well, looks almost perfect to start with, but if they're too long, I don't cut them like this. I taper a little bit, or I cut them afterwards. But if you look at this now, I use half the diameter of the tube, so I get it really wide like this. I think that's important. Okay, time for some hair. And I'm gonna do the first bunch of hair, and it's gonna be a bit shorter than the other ones. I'm gonna tie in 3 different wings here. And you can use any hair as long as it's soft enough. And I normally do the first wing a bit bigger than the others, and I always brush through, untangle this wing. All the fibers are tangled. When I do this, they untangle, and I move my fingers up and I pull out and taper, so I get a nice taper on every little piece of wing that I tie in. And make sure that this is not too big. If the first wing is too long, the fly is going to be either too big or not tapered. That's how I think. So it's better to tie this in so it's about the same length as the tail. And again, tie it in flat on top. So you use half the diameter of the tube. And then I cut it. Normally I can just cut this a couple of times, and I try to cut it fairly close. Then I go on, what do we have here? HD. We go on angel hair, and I should have nasty rusty one, and it's not many fibers left on my little thing here, but should be okay. And I take the angel hair and I spread it between my fingers like this, and tie it in wide, 1 or 2 turns, double back. Make sure to spread it so I don't get all the angel hair one place over the wing. And then I take the scissors and I just pull and cut and taper. And then it's time for second wing. How many wings do you put in on a normal one, Håkan?
3.
3, like me. I do 2 on some when I do them on TTT.
At least 3.
Yeah. But on a classic one like this one, I do 3 too. And I take a bunch of hair that is longer, and make sure to untangle and take away some of this very soft hair to get this to be very translucent. And I tie it in, pull it down on the sides, and I tie it in. And here, when I put in this much hair, I need to use quite a bit of thread. Look, so I get it wide. And sometimes I do like this. I take this and I pull it up before I cut it. And here I can now use a little glue. How much glue do you use in between your tie? Quite a lot? Or?
I just used the brush.
Okay.
Put the glue on the thread.
Yeah. I use support like this. You saw I do it. I put my finger on first, and then I get the glue where I want it. Okay, so this is how I want the main wing. This is most of my wing. Now I'm gonna put on a hackle, and on these I do all sorts of different hackles actually. On some I do ostrich, on some I do a soft hackle, and on some I do regular pheasant. But today I'm going to use, do we have them here? We have our feather packs. You've seen our feather packs. We have a new feather pack that is pheasant rump feathers, 100 feathers, different colors. And I'm going to do pheasant rump today.
It's nice colors.
It's pretty cool to get it like that, right?
Clear ones.
Okay, so I tie this in, and I use this, I take away some of the softest fibers here, and I tie this in the tip. Pull back, and some of these have few fibers, and you need to do quite a few turns to make this look good. And I back down the thread towards the wing, and I take this, and either I can use my hackle plier or I can use my fingers. I'm gonna do this with my fingers, and I move this, double back. And pheasant rump is like, it's almost like a little heron hackle. And then I make sure I get one or two of the soft part with me when I tie this in, and I secure this underneath like this. Now I'm careful with the thread. I'm putting the thread on top because now I'm gonna have half turbo where I have very little space. Okay, so I take my scissors and I just divide this a little bit. I just pull them aside little by little like this. Then I take the third hair, and this is the longest one, and extremely few strands. This is just to get the hackles to divide in a classical way. I actually have the wing almost ready, but to get this in with the half turbo, I need to have a few strands like this. Very few. Tie them in. Make sure this is now long enough to give me a good tapering. And I tie this in. Few strands, pull them back, tighten up. And my wing is almost ready. So, time for you to tie your wing. And I know you do it very differently. You will double your wing today too, like you do. Do you do it all the time?
Except for small flies.
Yeah.
Maybe then I just double it once.
Okay.
It depends on the volume of the wing. Right. Then I put in the first wing. And I tie it in, tip pointing forward.
But this way of doing it, that was your original idea, right?
Yes, I did it, by pure coincidence, back in the mid-80s. Because then I realized I can get a lot of volume into the wing without using a lot of material. And also this kind of wing will never fall off. The fish can eat the body, can eat the whole fly, but the wing will always be there. And we take some flash. We take some like one strand of each, one gold, and one blue.
You have it right there, rainbow from hell. Blue, gold, red and black.
Yes, but easy to take just like one strand of each. This is, we used to use, I still use what we call the rainbow flash. The original, I don't remember, do you remember the number?
No, I don't remember. But that's one of the flashes I looked at when I made the Rainbow from Hell.
So tie it in the middle, folding back the rest of the fibers. Then I split the wing in half. Like that. Now the wing is resting on the half turbo. Then we take some nasty rusty. Just a couple of strands. Tie it in the middle. Fold it back. Then I fold back the rest of the wing. Then I take a soft tackle.
Do you ever use the rump feathers?
Yes, I'm going to finish off with that one.
And you don't tie it in the top?
No, because I want the stem is thicker. So I mean, you get a really nice hackle if you tie it in with the tip first. But if I use the stem, you know, to spread the hackle even more, to get more volume. And particularly back in the days when we're using cock hackles.
And when we didn't have the cones or the turbos, and we didn't have the idea of splitting creating the turbulence, then it was really necessary.
But this is just to add more
volume, right?
Yes. Just make a couple of turns. This is to hide the head, so I can start from the beginning again.
You see, when I tie on the extra small, I try not to I tie my fly on the medium. You tie more of your fly on the small. That's why you need it to be small and not the extra small. This is the difference there.
Now I can start from the beginning again. And this is to hide the material behind hackles. This is something I learned from Ernest Crosfield. I read one of the books, and one of the old books, and he was really famous for his small heads, tiny heads. So that's something I picked up. You think that you have figured out something?
No, he was one of the old heroes. He had a lot of ideas.
Someone have done it long time before you did it. Then I do it the same. Put in the next wing. Tips pointing forward. I leave the end of the hair like this. Same thing again. I split the wing. Take some angel hair again.
What do you want? Try the Pahtakorva.
I forgot my flash at home. We take some gold. Same thing again.
It's good to see how you, like me, are very careful about getting that wide wing.
It's all about the silhouette.
Yeah. And how they swim, you know?
Because usually this fish see the fly from underneath.
Yeah.
And that's why from the beginning I wanted my flies to have a good silhouette.
In one of my older films, there's a funny thing actually, because I'm sitting here explaining all this talk about how you do it. And I say it like this, I do like this. The fish will see the fly from underneath. And I do it like this. And it looks pretty obscene. But that's what they do. They see it from there.
Take some...
You see, this guy is a chef, and you can see it's like with his spices, he picks a little here and there. And Håkan told me in the old days, he said it's tying flies and cooking is the same. You know, you
Yes,
take a little bit of everything that you like, and it turns out good.
And it's also about knowing the basic. If you know the basics in cooking, you can do almost anything. Then I take like one strand of each of the flash. Fold it double and turn it on the side.
So I very seldom use flush high up in my wings. I prefer angel.
I want it on the sides.
Mm.
Not on top, but on the sides.
Mm.
Then we can take one of these guys.
Mm. You want a long one? There's a long one right there. Or? No, I start to interfere in his tying. He didn't interfere in mine.
The question is if I should put I think I put in a couple of turns of soft tackle first.
See, what people don't know, Håkan, is how many hours we spent on the phone back in 80s and 90s, and when we were both tying professionally. What would you say?
Our telephone bill was probably high.
And our wives were pretty crazy on. Oh, so you're on the phone, my wife said, and your wife said, oh, so is it Håkan again? No, a couple of hours a day was more regular than, you know.
And also when you tie a lot of flies, you turn up with techniques. You just try something or something just happened on random.
Mm. So now the fly is almost ready. I mean, you could fish it like this, but I'd like to pimp it a little bit. And I pimp it with, what do we have? A little bit of angel hair, few strands. Just put them on top, wide. One turn, double back. And then I take our peacock, it's coming from our packs. Look at this quality, it's pretty nice gold quality, I would say. What do you say, sir?
Natural flashable.
Natural flashable, yeah.
Particularly the hot orange dyed ones.
Yeah.
That's really, really nice, rich bronze color when it's wet.
These are dyed orange, the ones I'm using here now. And pick a few long ones. And I'm using 3 to 5. Like this. And I spread them A little too many here, but I want to spread them. Take a couple away, I can pick them up for my next fly. Put them not so they're not crossed over before I tie them in. And then I hold this in, move them back so I get the right length. Make sure they're long enough. This I need to use the full length. And I tie them in. And I was going to say, if I'm lucky, they will not fold over. Normally they don't do that if you do it the right way. And then I cut. Now I can brag about our scissors too, they're bloody good. Okay, jungle corks, I still use some of the original feathers, but I always show you the cytus. It's important that we do it the legal way. And I can tell you, those of you who's been asking on mails about our substitute, it'll be soon be ready. And hopefully I can present it to you shortly. I picked 2 feathers, and I think I could say that you use bigger feathers than I do, and I tie in smaller feathers.
We used to switch capes back in the days.
Yeah, and use them longer. When he's done with the capes, their best is there for me, and it's the same with me. You could have it. And I wanted to curve, and I take this and I pull it over my finger and curve it a little bit. This was a little broken, but I think it will be okay anyway. And I always start with the one on my side, and I tie it in with a few turns. So it looks good. It's okay.
Put in the other one on the other side.
Tell me now, it looks bloody good. And I cut one. I always cut them one at a time. And I take this and I do the same here, and I form it so it follows the wing. And I tie it in. I can't twist this now. I need to look above so I get the same length. And I tie it in. And I look, and you can see there's a few strands missing there, but I think it looks okay. Okay, cut a little bit, and then it's time for the cone. And the thing with cones is they have 2 things to do. They balance the fly. I remember back in the 80s when we were over the phone every day a few hours discussing how to balance the best way, and cones came up, and the tungsten cones came up, and suddenly we could, I think you found the cones and I found the method to get them on the tubing, and suddenly we had this solution.
I used to use dumbbell eyes.
Yeah.
Before the cones came on the market.
I used brass tubes that I connected with the other one. It's kind of complicated, but this is such an easy way to do it. Okay, so I'm gonna take half turbo, and I'm gonna look at what I want here now. Either I can put on the extra small one that will make a fly that's got a little narrower profile. I would say it's the cone that decides the profile. The smaller cone, the narrower the fly, the bigger the cone. Or you change from a regular cone to half turbo, you get a fly that balances a bit better, but also have a little wider, be a little wider. And if you want to have a full profile, you use a turbo. But I would say on this one, I could also use the large one. Like that, and I'm gonna put on the large, or let's do the extra small. It's a little bit, or the X small. It's a little trickier to put it on. There's very little room there, and this is how I do it. I use support here, and I put this a little bit away from the actual hackles and stuff. And then I just pull this down. But the thing I do, I use the thread to pick up the glue, and I pull this down. And the best way to do this is always to do it when the fly is out of the vise. Take it and pull down the cone. Pull it down so it's tight, tight, tight. And if I've done it right, I have no thread seen. And that's the trick, to hide the thread. Then, oops, I use it like this when I do all my cutting. We're getting old now, so it's like this, the fingers are all over the place. But I always put my scissors on my finger, and then I move the material to where I'm gonna cut. Even an old man can cut in the exact place this way. And you stole my lighter before. So where is it now?
Over there.
We have to pick it up. And I have a little gimmick in these films where I use the same color of the lighter as on the fly. But yeah. Now we have to use some imagination and say, oh, this is orange, right? And black and orange. Okay, so I'll hold it like this, and I just put this up and I melt it. And a little bit at a time, careful like this. Make sure I get enough plastic here to hold the cone, and also make sure there's a good hole there. And the key is to hold it like this. Newton found out that things want to go that way. If I do this, the hole won't be as good. Okay. Pahtakorva.
Looks good. Looks good.
Sir, you judge it. Would you fish it?
Okay.
I tell you, we have a little this thing here. He caught fish on my flies.
Happened once.
I never.
By accident.
No, it happened more times. It happened in Russia too, not only on the Alta.
No. It was one of the factory tied ones.
Oh, that's even worse, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now this is how I do a Pahtakorva, the classical way, and I think actually it turned out pretty nice. And the rump feathers are nice, huh?
Mm.
They make just a little bit extra motion and not too much volume. If you want to, you can put soft tackle in front. I always do like this when I'm ready, because there's always a few strands of angel hair, and then I take these away. I don't want these to tangle with my hook. Nothing tangles more than angel hair. So okay, that was my fly. Now you finish yours. See how you pimp it up, and then we will see.
Yeah. People can judge for themselves.
People can judge, and you know who's going to judge is the fish that's going to judge.
It's the only thing that's important.
Yeah. I think it turned out good, and he agrees a little bit. Okay, your turn.
Then I put in on top. Back in the day, I used to use. Well, let's try
Pick up.
your natural flashable.
Yeah. Look at the quality on this stuff. See, this is also one thing that differs in your tying and mine. I never use this. I always use this, the eye feather, because I think they got more fluorescence to them. But this,
The thing is with the big ones, is that you get more flash. but they're also very fragile. I don't use peacock these days, but from the beginning, the original, where I took the inspiration from, was from the Deceiver, Lefty Craze, the Deceiver.
You met Lefty?
No. I saw him on distance once in one of the shows, but I didn't dare to talk to him.
I had a pretty cool, let's brag it a little bit here. I had a pretty cool thing happening on one of the international fairs. I was tying flies and I had 5 people in front of me, and it was Joan Wolf, Gary Burger, Mel Krieger, Lefty Cray, and who was the 5th guy? I don't remember, I'm too old. But I have a photo, it was pretty cool one actually, all the heroes.
Then I put on a thin black wing on top. Take some JC. Your cape is better than mine.
I would say my cape is bolder than yours. You start with the one away from you first?
Yes.
I always do the opposite so I can see.
It's mostly for the camera.
You don't cut in between?
No. Then I can take some sap on the thread.
Yeah. That's a good trick. I use it too. When you need just a little bit.
Just to secure it.
Yeah.
Now we can take one of you. Which one was the good one? This one.
And here you tie in by the tip, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You cut or fold that? You cut it, huh?
Afterwards.
Yeah, but the tip. This one, do you cut
Yeah,
it or fold it?
not
back?
now.
No, okay.
Or you can just fold it back.
Yeah. And you do like me when you just double, you just hold back the fibers. That's part of the feather you tie in, right?
Yep.
Front feathers are like a mix between a heron and a regular.
I think they're a little bit more fragile.
Yeah.
But it's as a substitute, they are the best. Take some sap again.
pull it down, yeah. This is the proof on how flexible the tubing is, right? You can just pull down that micro cone onto the small tubing.
Yes, that's why I like it the best. Then I cut. Then I rest my finger on the needle.
Okay.
Then I put on, now I can't do that with your needle, I do it like this. So to put it on backwards, like this. And then I lean the needle on the waist like this.
And then you melt it.
This will prevent you from melting the tubing.
Yeah.
Now I go through the wing with the comb and take away the excess fur that might be in the wing. And as you can see now, I have a really fat back on this fly. And this fly will never collapse even in fast water, and still I have the weight.
It's going to be funny there and say flat back, but I didn't say anything. Yeah, it's nice. I would say Håkan's flies, if I actually never caught a salmon on a fly that I haven't tied myself, but if I'm gonna fish fly tied by someone else, it would be yours.
Will never happen though.
It will never happen. Nice. Okay. Thank you, my friend.
Okay.
So where's my fly? It's right here. Huh? They're pretty similar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same but different.
Same, but very different. Okay, Håkan, Pau.
You can keep that one.
I keep it. Oh, thank you.
And use it.
We're gonna take some photos of it. I'll keep it. But you know, we've been friends how long?
Long time.
Long time, yeah. And we've been sharing, always sharing everything. And well, I think we actually changed the way that modern tubes are tied. Is that cocky to say that?
No.
That was cocky. Okay, thank you folks for watching this very, very long film. And thank you, Håkan. You're the best guy, okay?
Yep. You're not too bad either.
Okay, thanks for watching, everyone. And next time we'll be back with something totally different. And I almost forgot, Håkan, give us the packs there. I always show the packs because we do the same here. With the packs, we supply the pattern of the month packs for the Classic Pahtakorva or the flies if you don't tie. If you think this is something you wanna fish, and how many fish caught on these flies? Tens of thousands of salmon.
I think it's worse than drift netting.
No, but very many. It's been this fly's been on the market so long now, and it's just fantastic. And actually, Pahtakorva was voted the best fly on the best river in the world, the Alta, and it's been catching big fish all over the world, and the same with your original Tempeldog there. Okay, now I said thank you 4 times. I'll say it again. Thanks, Paul, and thanks for watching, folks. And stay strong and tie on.